All right, welcome back to the Tool World Podcast. I'm your host, David Jew. I'm here with Grandmaster Jew.
How's it going there, Mr. Jew?
Yeah, it's going okay.
What's the deal here?
What?
You're calling me Grandmaster.
GM. All right, well, this week we're covering side piercing kick in patterns, particularly like Choi Young. Was that right? And there's two different instances within Choi Young. We'll start with the one in the second half of the pattern. You're in a bending ready stance A, and you perform a side piercing kick. And it says to form a guarding block, right? Now, in other patterns, sometimes it says to, punch.
Right.
Sometimes you pull the hands in the opposite direction, right? Sometimes you pull the hands in front of the chest.
Right.
All right. And in the earlier part of Choi Young, when you perform the consecutive kicking with the hook kick, side piercing kick, it does say to pull the hands in the opposite direction, right? So we're going to deep dive into why do we just form a guarding block? And what does that change within the kick? So let's start with that second one, right? The one where you're in that guarding block and you form a guarding block as you perform the kick.
This is a podcast. People listening to this have to...
Well, you do also have to have some pretty decent knowledge on Choi Young. You can't just be learning and you're like, what are they talking about? You kind of have to kind of know. So I'm assuming our target demographic is a fifth dan, maybe a fourth dan.
Yeah, maybe.
If you're a first dan, you probably should not be listening to this one.
Why?
Because they have no idea what's going on. You can go back and watch a video and come back to it, right? Let's talk about forming that guarding block.
Forming a guarding block and not pulling it back.
Right. Well, I think the interesting part is that you're already in a guarding block.
Right.
Because you already did the bending ready stance A. So do you have to do anything else for that?
As far as a body movement?
Right.
You would kick and move your arms and
No.
pull it right into the guarding block?
No, you know what this was actually? We were talking about the wrong pattern. You wanted to talk about sawmill.
Okay.
All right, so hopefully you're third dan. You know what we're talking about. Because you're in sawmill and you're in this W-shaped block. And then you do side piercing kick with your left leg and you form a guarding block.
Well, the previous side piercing kick in sawmill, I believe, is a...
Well, you're in a knife hand
guarding block, and you execute a side piercing kick, but you form a guarding block.
Right, so you just close the hand.
You just close your hand.
But this one is you're in the W shape, so you actually have to form this, right? So I guess the question is more like, from the W-shaped block, do I form the guarding block before I throw the kick out? Or do I form it as I'm throwing my kick out? Or does it not matter at all?
That's the thing. It's you watch people do sawmill, and they're in a W-shaped block, and they do the side piercing kick, and you see them pulling it back, which is incorrect. So you got to really know your patterns.
So what's the benefits, or why would you see forming guarding block versus pulling the hands back? And because we started the podcast with Choi Young, we'll loop back to that at the end. But let's start with the W-shaped block, right? What's the differences beyond just the hand position?
Well, I think that in the W-shaped block, the only way to do that is actually to form the guarding block and then execute the side piercing kick. So they don't happen simultaneously. Simultaneously, generally, I think would be you're kicking and pulling that hand back. You can do that. But in a W-shaped block, you can't do that. Really, you can't just go from the W-shaped block, form a guarding block, and execute a side piercing kick at the same time.
Well, I assume that when it says forming, it's not done with any power.
Right.
It's just like I'm fighting, right? So if I'm in the W-shaped block, I'm just kind of making this guard.
Correct.
And then I perform it, right?
That's the way I would interpret that. And then the previous kick before in sawmill, all you did was close your hand and execute a side piercing kick. It's not like you do some kind of extra jerking type movement on the arm. That action-reaction concept.
Okay.
So I think that when you're just forming it, why would we do that? It's kind of interesting because you do have kicks and you don't move the arms. So you don't have this reaction movement to the kick. In Dosan, you're doing the wedging block. So why do you keep the hands there? Well, from a theoretical point of view, you might keep the hand there to prevent that arm, the guy that's trying to grab you or trying to strike you, to you're just keeping it out there, to keep the guard out there, and you execute the kick. So there's no pulling that hand back. I think that when you're doing a side piercing kick, maybe, I mean, you do need to be able to kick from different types of positions. It's not always perfect, and probably not as powerful without actually moving the arm. Maybe it could be that you have this guarding block and someone holds your arm and you execute a side piercing kick without pulling it back, without the release, because you also see that in Sosan.
Well, I hope these guys are fifth dans now. Well, yeah, you're in this twin horizontal strike, right?
Twin horizontal. And you execute the side piercing kick without moving the arms. It just kicks out. So there's no reaction to the kick itself. No reaction, body movement, upper body movement to the side piercing kick.
And it's interesting when you look at that one, if you look at the encyclopedia in Sosan from the twin horizontal strike, I think it's just a side piercing kick.
Right.
But if you watch some of like General Che's videos, he does demonstrate where somebody's grabbed the hand and you perform the side piercing kick, right? So there are some things that just never got translated to the book that has some kind of explanations too, right?
Right. No, that's true.
So going back to this one, I mean, yes, you're saying that somebody could have grabbed you on the guarding block.
Yeah.
And you perform the side piercing kick, or maybe you're just
and you
preparing
didn't
for guard.
Release.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. So any other thoughts on that before we jump to the next one?
No. Does that seem clear?
Yeah.
Does this seem clear to those
Well, I
guys?
think pulling the hand back, yes, definitely does add that reaction because you're moving the whole body to it, right?
Gives it a little bit more power, probably.
Right. Okay, so let's jump back to Choi Young because we started with that.
Okay.
We're going to do the consecutive kick, hook kick, side piercing kick, right? So hopefully you're third down again. And this time it says pull the hands in the opposite direction, right?
And usually you pull in the opposite direction. Don't you usually pull it back to your hip?
Well, some
all
of
the way straight back?
It kind of depends. I think you have to look at the photo.
Right.
You know? And I have different thoughts on this one, right? So,
well, okay.
Well, when we look at like the hooking kick, you have this kind of fast action, right?
Right.
And in order to prepare for the side piercing kick, because you're spinning, so your momentum is going around.
Right.
And so it's going one direction. And now I have to reload that kick and going back the other way, and then it has to go straight out. So it's almost like I think the hands do need to move in the opposite direction because it provides that kind of counterbalance
I would agree
to that
with that.
kick.
Yeah, I would agree
Whereas
with that.
just forming a guarding block for that one.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
Far back, you pull it back.
Yeah, as much as your shoulders can go.
Natural.
Yeah.
Natural. That's your answer. It's just natural.
Right.
So when we talk about pulling the hand back, I don't know if there's a clear definition as to where it goes. Because you have different patterns that show the hands pull back to the hip. I've seen that.
Right, and one hand's on top of the other.
One,
or sometimes it's just pulled back, or sometimes it's pulled
further
farther.
back, like in Tong Il, where the hand actually looks like it's pulling back, where they might be grabbing somebody, or maybe placing the hand on a table or something and executing a side piercing kick.
Right. So you should just go with whatever that picture shows, I guess, for that.
But
for that pattern, right? So if I'm doing like Eom and it shows that my hand's like this, then that would be the correct one for that one, right?
Because the description just says pull the hand back. So why pull it back to your hip? Or why pull it back to your chest? Or why pull it back further than your body? There's different
reasons.
Different
reasons.
Maybe
for
a different reason for it. And different purpose probably.
Right.
So I think the original question is forming a guarding block. What is that? I think it's not any action-reaction kind of a situation. The hand is just up. Maybe someone's grabbed your arm, so you execute a side piercing kick. So you're not trying to release. You're just kick them.
Right.
That's also true with what is that pattern? Yusin. You do a 4-fist punch.
But that's just a completely different kick.
I know, it's a front snap kick, but the arm is out there. Why would the arm be out there?
That's like all the front snap kicks. Anyways, just focus on the side kick here. The side
All right,
kick.
all right.
The
Fine.
side kick. All right, well, let us know your guys' thoughts on forming the guarding block, right? Especially in sawmill.
Right.
From the W-shaped block. As always, don't forget to be safe.
Keep training.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Take one.